The night sky is full of stars. Supposedly, some of those stars are special. So special that some people believe that they can influence our personalities and determine our futures. These very special stars are called the Zodiac. But look up there. There are no labels on the stars, and there's nothing particularly different about any set of stars or any particular part of the sky. What makes a constellation one of the special constellations? What makes a constellation a zodiac constellation? I mean, it's not like people chose the best ones. I mean, look at Orion. Orion is a badass constellation, and it's not in the zodiac, but Cancer is. Cancer is one of the lamest constellations ever constructed. Even Neil deGrasse Tyson says so. So if the zodiac really is a thing, then how do we know? This is a science channel, so here's the part where I'm supposed to debunk the zodiac as a load of hoo-ha. But I'm not gonna. The zodiac is not a mystic fortune-telling system. The zodiac is actually a science thing. It's a science thing that people invented to try and explain something truly weird. Long ago, ancient people watched the stars move across the sky each night. The stars were constant. They didn't shift their positions amongst each other. If you saw a group of stars that looked like a connect-the-dot bear or a person or a whatever this is, you could pass it on to your grandkids' and it would still be the same. Except, if you watched the sky long enough, you'd notice that a handful of stars didn't keep their positions. They would very slowly move about among the other stars. Creepy, right? As you might expect, ancient peoples watched these weird stars very closely. Some people called these stars the wanderers, like in ancient Greece, where the word for wanderer was planetes. Planetes, planet. Oh. People all over wondered where these planets went and why they went where they did, and so they tried to trace them across the sky. But how do you trace the path of something in the sky? There's no landmarks in the sky. Oh, wait. Yeah, there are. There's the other stars, the ones that don't move. To keep track of where those wandering stars wandered, ancient peoples could use the constellations as a backdrop. And they could tell where a planet was by seeing which constellation it looked like it was in. And when they tracked them night after night, year after year, decades after decades, they began to notice a weird pattern. Can you guess what it is? The wandering stars all stayed in this narrow track across the sky. And the moon followed the same track. And if you could imagine where the stars were during the day, if they were visible, and tracked the sun, even the sun would stick to that narrow track across the sky. The people of ancient Mesopotamia were particularly interested in the movements of the planets. They believed that predicting the motions of these wandering stars would give them omens of the future. But some of the patterns in their movement took a really long time. So long that planet tracking became this kind of multi-generational project. But how do you communicate your observations to someone 4 generations down the line? They needed a way to break up that track across the sky into memorable parts, like mile markers on some celestial highway. So what did they use for mile markers? Have you guessed it? They took all the constellations that line that celestial track, and they divided the track up between them into even bands, each one about 30 degrees of the sky. And they used those mile markers to trace the paths of the planets and the moon and the sun so precisely that they could predict when 2 planets would pass next to each other or when the moon would eclipse the sun. That's the zodiac. It's not a fortune-telling system. It's a coordinate grid. It's the beginning of a map of the sky. Eventually, scientists would use that grid to orient us in the entire cosmos. People had always used the stars to help them navigate their way around the Earth. But with the zodiac, we learned how to find our way through the heavens themselves. Go out sometime. Look up at the sky. There is a path through those stars, but it's hidden. No one person can find it on their own, because figuring out the signs that would guide you along it would take longer than any one human lifetime. But thousands of years ago, people set out to find it anyway. They wrote each other messages on clay tablets. They assembled the pieces of the puzzle over generations, and then they sent them off through history to us. It is a secret that people have handed down for thousands of years. Some people think that you can somehow use it to tell your future or orient your love life, help you make your way through an uncertain world. And in some ways, it kind of actually does. Because that band of stars gives us a way to think about where we are in this incomprehensibly vast universe.